Hey guys, Jim here from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. I love pinball. So I also love Jaki Crush on the Super Famicom. Let's take a look. Released in 1992, this was developed by Compile and published by naxat. It is a Super Famicom exclusive. When it comes to graphics, it's a damn good looking table. I think it has a slightly better graphical design overall than Devil's Crush does. I think it's just a little bit more vibrant, a little more creative looking, but it still doesn't touch Alien Crush in my opinion. The bonus tables look good as well, though I will say these are probably a step back from what Devil's Crush would give you, at least graphically. They still look good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I felt like the Super Famicom could have done more. You will see some visual effects, and it does use Mode 7 because, of course it does, it's the Super Famicom. But it's not overly used, but there's some good scaling in certain cutscene parts. There's also some cool use of dithering at certain points, which is always a nice touch. And just overall, it's a nice looking package. I will say I was probably expecting a little bit more at this point, being the third game in the series, but what you get looks great. The table's based around an ogre, devilish kind of design, and it's more centered in Japanese folklore, so I think that might be a reason why it didn't come out anywhere else. It's a good looking table, what can I say? When it comes to sound, if you're used to Crush games, then you kind of know what to expect. It has one music track, and it's great. You have different music tracks for the bonus stages, and you have serviceable sound effects. Sound effects aren't anything special, once again, but they get the job done. At this point, a typical naxat kind of sounding game. Definitely good, but I still think that some of the other games had better music tracks in general. When it comes to control, it's as simple as it's ever been. The D-pad controls the left flipper, the A button controls the right flipper, and you use the shoulder buttons to control your tilting in different directions, which is a nice touch. I'll say probably with the control layout and having the shoulder buttons, it's the best control layout that these games have had yet. The button inputs work perfectly fine, so no complaints there. Control-wise, it's an A+. Gameplay, like every other Crush game at this point, you have a table, you have 3 different layers to it, you have 6 bonus stages, and when you get a perfect score, you beat the game. Luckily, there's a passcode system, so you can give yourself a ton of extra balls as usual, or a ton of extra lives, or both, or you can even put in a direct code to see the ending of the game, which is always a nice touch in my mind. Again, it's the third game in the series, so if you've played the other ones, you know what to expect here. I will say that this is probably the hardest one out of the 3. The other ones, I was seeming to get into a nice little rhythm with myself after maybe 10 or 15 minutes. This one, it took me almost an hour just to get anywhere in it. There were so many playthroughs I had of this where I just kept losing all my balls within like 5 minutes. I just had a really tough time. I think it comes down to the fact that the middle portion of the table is so hard to do anything with, and the bottom portion of the table is probably the most difficult of the 3 games for the bottom portion, so I just think in general it's a tougher layout, it's a more challenging game. Not a bad thing though, it's just one you're going to have to put more time to really get anywhere in. When it comes to originality, it's another Crush game. It's like I've said before, it's the third in the series, and the originality comes from the overall graphical design and from the bonus stages. Overall, high concept wise, there's nothing new here. When it comes to replayability, again, it's nothing you haven't seen before. It's single player, you can shoot for high scores, and of course you're going to keep playing because it's super hard to get that perfect score. But once you see the ending of the game, that's really it. Luckily, it's a fun enough game that you will want to keep coming back again and again. I don't really know that much about the Super Famicom's pinball games. This is the only one I have for either that or the Super NES, but the Crush games are always among the best pinball games on a system, so it's definitely a good one to have. When it comes to beer, you are definitely going to need something that'll stick to the back of your throat as you play this game, because once you launch that ball, you're not really going to be resting a lot until, well, you lose one. With that being said, I'm going with a personal favorite and the Victory Sour Monkey. I'm a huge fan of sour beers, and this is one of the best and most widely available. It has a sweet yet no frills and strong sour flavor. It sticks to the back of your tongue. It's got a very nice and smooth mouthfeel while feeling very robust. And it comes in at a beefy 9.5% alcohol by volume, so if you have a lot of these, it might make playing a little rough after 2 or 3 of them, just because of how drunk you'll be. Still, if you've never had this beer before, I say definitely go and check it out. Another good thing is, considering how good of a beer this is, it's relatively inexpensive, so there's really no excuse to not go out and track some down. Overall, what do I think of Jaki Crush? Well, it's great. It's another good naxat pinball game. It's kind of weird with the fact that it's the one that no one ever talks about. Being a Japan-only exclusive probably doesn't help, but it's still weird to me that it never got ported anywhere. It's the one where I feel it's probably the hardest table of the three. It's well designed, but for me it took way longer to start to activate those special rooms, activate those big multipliers. It's a game where you have to put at least like an hour or more into it before you start to really get into a rhythm. So maybe that hurt it, but I don't know, man. It's just a good, solid pinball game. It's just weird it never got ported along with the other games. Price wise, it's still dirt cheap. So the way Alien Crush and especially Devil's Crush are like crazy expensive at this point, this you can find on eBay for between 10 and 15 bucks. So modding a North American Super NES to play Super Famicom games is the easiest mod in all of gaming. Not to mention the fact that every clone system now can play Japanese carts, so there's almost no reason to not go out and track it down. If you've never played a Crush game before, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, can't go wrong with this guy. I recommend it. That'll do it for this video, guys, and with that, we basically finish up our look at the Crush games. Did you enjoy it? Let me know below in the comments section. And also, give the video a like, it'll help out the page. As always, if you haven't yet, you can subscribe, where we have more pinball reviews, hardware reviews, and we are, of course, the home of the Power Hour podcast. Until next time, guys, cheers.